Stolen car suspect leads police on wild chase from San Fernando Valley to Hollywood.
LAPD was following the stolen van up until about 5 minutes ago when he decided to run. They tried to light him up, and he ran for it. He was going down Van Nuys Boulevard, made a turn onto Sherman Way, and then took out a couple of light poles, and just a few seconds ago jumped onto the 405 from Victory Boulevard. As we came on the air here, we're now southbound on the 405 freeway, doing excessive speeds, close to 100 miles per hour. LAPD in pursuit right behind him, as well as from the air. Their airship is right overhead as well, and this guy is driving very erratically. In fact, I'm sure in the next couple of seconds we'll be able to roll some tape for you of a very erratic maneuver. Just a few seconds ago, before we came on the air, he got off of Victory Boulevard. Not sure if he thought he had an outlet to turn off of, but he basically backed up into a traffic light, took out the traffic light, and then booked it. He's now on the 405, getting off onto the 101 freeway, going to be going southbound on the 101 freeway now as we make our way through Sherman Oaks, guys.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know if it's just erratic driving or if there might be something wrong with the vehicle. It seems like it's wobbling a little bit. Are you seeing that too?
Can't tell from my vantage point. It's possible that he may have damaged the vehicle. He took out a couple of poles, at least one traffic light, as I mentioned. He came very close to hitting a tree. So if there's any damage to the vehicle, certainly a possibility. As you can see, though, the freeway is wide open now as he makes his way southbound through Sherman Oaks. It's going to be actually eastbound through this part of town, technically the southbound side of the 101 freeway there. And you can see coming very close to that vehicle, and it did look like that the rear end of that van was fishtailing ever so slightly there. So certainly a heavy vehicle, not sure what he's hauling there, but again, reported to be a stolen van. Looks like some kind of a business, some kind of an advertisement on the van. I can't make out what it says. Unfortunately, unclear where the van was stolen from. It's a plumbing van. It's a plumbing van out of the valley. So this all started in the West Valley, made its way into the Van Nuys area, and now we find ourselves coming off the 405 onto the 101 freeway again as we make our way eastbound through the valley, but on the southbound side of the 101 freeway again. LAPD is the lead agency here. However, if he stays on the freeway, of course, as we know so well, CHP will take this over. They are certainly monitoring from their dispatch center, and they probably already have units on the way over here. But as you can see, LAPD, again, the lead agency in this pursuit, again, doing speeds close to 90 miles per hour right now. At one point, southbound on the 405 was doing about 100. So doing very excessive speeds. Unclear how many people may be inside this van. Obviously, we've got a driver in there, but whether there's anybody else in there, we have no clue at this point. And LAPD still has the lead on this one. CHP is monitoring, and they are on their way over here. But I can tell you, these vans, as you mentioned, certainly not designed to go these speeds, especially with all of that equipment. If this is indeed a rotor-rooter van with lots of plumbing equipment in there, certainly that would explain some of the fishtailing that we saw earlier. A very heavy load, possibly, with lots of work equipment inside that van. So certainly they could be dealing with an extra large and extra heavy vehicle as they eventually decide what to do with a vehicle like this. Again, those details do play into the decision making of law enforcement. If it comes down to a pit maneuver or something like that, they have to take all of those things into consideration. But it does look, indeed, is he getting off there, Mike?
101 southbound at this point,
taking
right?
the 101 south. Yep, taking the 101 south. And we are going to be making our way into Universal City here as we continue in through the Cahuenga Pass. Again, very light traffic. LAPD, still the lead agency here, and you can see that night sun coming from LAPD's helicopter as well. So, again, going close to 100 miles per hour once again with lots of roadway in front of them and very little traffic. Again, very, very fast speeds for this type of a vehicle, and certainly with the amount of roadway he's got ahead of him here, he can certainly push the envelope here, but it's not going to end pretty.
Authorities were unable to stop the suspect, who continued driving and ended up on the southbound 405 freeway toward Sherman Oaks. The suspect then merged onto the southbound 101 freeway and traveled at high speeds until he exited near Hollywood Boulevard.
Freeway Yet despite that fact, he is seeming to be, he's still weaving unnecessarily over the paint, over the gore points, around traffic that really isn't even there. I mean, he could certainly slow down. He could certainly get in the fast lane and just stay in that carpool lane and just continue going southbound. But he was all the way over to the right for a short time, showing signs of maybe trying to get off there. But every time he touches the wheel, you can see that vehicle is very top heavy, and he's wobbling every time he switches lanes. You can see it now very clearly, Michelle, as we make our way southbound here on the 101 freeway. As we make our way into the heart of Hollywood, we're going to see a little bit more traffic up ahead here, but still lots of room for him to maneuver here. And CHP is just about a minute out here, so they will be eventually taking this pursuit over pretty shortly.
Yeah, I believe there's a CHP headquarters right around Vermont Avenue and the 101, if memory serves. So he's heading right into their area where there's going to be a lot of reinforcements available for them, but certainly they're out on the roads anyway here. But yes, as we watch this thing, it wobbles quite a bit. It's top heavy. You know, we used to, our former Nuys vans, not the ones we have now, but the ones that we used to have were similar to this. And I remember how top heavy they are. And you get that thing above 70 miles an hour, and it's a little scary because it doesn't have real good steering in it. It's just not meant to do this. It's meant to carry stuff. And we got trouble.
Here we go, guys. Okay, hitting several vehicles. He's getting off at Hollywood Boulevard here. We're in the heart of Hollywood. Ramming right into an SUV there. Lots of damage to several vehicles there, and now making his way in the eastbound direction on Hollywood. So obviously a very desperate individual behind the wheel, really ramping things up here in the last few seconds, showing no signs for anybody, or no regard for anybody's safety here, and very desperate to outrun the cops. Now they are right behind him. They're going to try and keep up with him here, but at these speeds, moving through Hollywood, it's going to be a very dangerous situation. They may have to put this in tracking mode, but they can't let him go too far because you see the damage he's already done there. We hope that nobody was hurt. Oh my goodness, another pedestrian almost taking a hit there. Fortunately, it looks like he just missed a pedestrian crossing the street, but we saw several vehicles already hit by this vehicle and heavy damage. Again, hopefully no injuries back at the Hollywood exit. That was the 101 at Hollywood Boulevard. Now we're continuing eastbound through Los Feliz on Hollywood Boulevard. LAPD still overhead here. I cannot tell you quite how far back the closest unit is, but they are doing their best to keep up with him. Again, doing speeds upwards of 60 miles per hour on Hollywood Boulevard, now turning onto a side street into Alexandria Avenue. He's going to foot bail here most likely as he pulls into this parking lot behind an apartment building in a commercial parking lot adjacent to an apartment building, maybe doing a loop back onto Hollywood Boulevard. Sure enough, going to be going now westbound on Hollywood Boulevard. LAPD, if you notice, as he was making his way eastbound on Hollywood Boulevard, had a couple of units that I noticed, maybe just parked vehicles, parked black and whites, but they were up ahead of him. Again, can't tell if that was coordinated or if they just happened to be parked vehicles. You can see there is a unit right behind him, now turning off of Hollywood Boulevard onto Winona Boulevard. And so LAPD not giving this guy any distance to play with here. He is very dangerous, and they are staying right on his tail. These speeds with a vehicle this heavy moving through a suburban neighborhood like this is just so dangerous as he continues to drive very erratically, swerving all over the roadway now onto Franklin Avenue as we make our way westbound, just crossing Kingsley Drive, guys.
He's having trouble stopping. He's having trouble steering. He's having trouble keeping control of this thing. Anything jumps out in front of him at this point, we have real trouble ahead for anybody in this neighborhood. If you are in this neighborhood, please stay indoors. Don't go out. And certainly stay away from him. He's going through a red light. Where was that? Franklin and what, Western?
That was Garfield Place. Franklin and Garfield now making another left-hand turn here, so he's going to be starting to do some circles here in Hollywood with no clear indication of where he wants to bail. You can kind of get the sense that he's looking for a spot where he could jump out, kind of hide out, and lose that night sun, and the closest unit behind him, but neither are going away. The unit, the helicopter, almost head on with that black and white there. The LAPD airship is not going anywhere, and neither are the units right behind him. They are continuing to stay very close, or as close as they possibly can, as close as they safely can, right behind him. But this is a felony suspect, and they are not going to let him get too far. You can see a number of units now making their way into the area here as he makes his way westbound. There are also units moving in the eastbound direction. You can see 2 more right there, and he has no problem crossing those double yellow lines. That's what's so dangerous. When you see somebody this desperate who is willing to stop at no cost to try and get away here, it doesn't matter to this guy who he hits or what he hits or who he hurts. He just wants to get away. And in a vehicle this heavy, this is just so dangerous as we make our way through the heart of Hollywood.
In the heart of Hollywood. You see the stars on the Walk of Fame here on Hollywood Boulevard. He's heading westbound. This is an area that's going to have pedestrians all hours of the day or night. It's going to have heavy traffic all hours of the day and night. It's a tourist area. There's a ton of people in this area. He's passing by, I think he's passing Highland right now. Hollywood and Vine.
Yeah,
now he just turned what appears to be south on Vine. Is that correct?
Yeah, south on Vine and kind of zigzagging his way through Hollywood here. Now going to make a right on Selma Avenue. Glad to see him get off of Hollywood Boulevard here, but once again, looks like he might be looking for a spot to bail here. You can see every time he turns that wheel, he was losing control, and as he was making his way along the Walk of Fame here, looks like he's going to come out the other end here. This is going to be, looks like he's back on to Sunset Boulevard now. Westbound on Sunset Boulevard, swerving through traffic, and I've got to tell you, I'm almost another crash there, again, right through these red lights. I'm a little bit surprised, but very happy to see LAPD trying their very best to stay as closely behind him as possible. It's very difficult with these kinds of driving conditions. Fortunately, if there's any silver lining here, this time of the day would be the least populated time of the day in Hollywood, but certainly you could see even at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night, lots of traffic over here and plenty of pedestrians still walking around, as you mentioned, Mark, ever so dangerous as we make our way now. Hits the curb there. Yep, and he's going to hit the curb again. He's in the median, losing control of the vehicle. This is going to be it here. If he continues to accelerate, he's going to lose control of the vehicle into some more parked cars here. This person may very well be under the influence of something. I would not be surprised at all.
Looks like
here
there's
comes
a passenger
side door. Yeah, passenger side door has just popped open. A passenger now making a run for it. I believe the driver is still going to be in the driver's side, in the driver's seat. We still have to assume that the driver's in the driver's seat. LAPD is going to take down the passenger here, and now we'll go ahead and pan back over to the van. This is the van that has been trying to outrun police now for the better part of 20 minutes, and I can't say whether that was the driver that crawled over to the passenger side or whether the driver is still in the driver's seat. That's my inclination, but as you can see, the pursuit ending here into several parked vehicles. After doing some damage to the vehicle itself, he jumped on the curb, then onto the median, lost control as he accelerated through Highland Avenue here. And man, oh man, this could have ended so much worse. Certainly lots of damage that we've witnessed. I cannot tell, I've got to be honest, I can't tell if that was the driver that crawled over to the passenger side and jumped out, or if the driver himself is still in the driver's seat. Unclear from our vantage point here.
And real quickly, the location, is this Sunset Boulevard?
This is just off of Sunset. This is Highland Avenue at Leland Way is where this ended.
Well, Chris, you know, there is also the possibility that if that was the passenger and not the driver who got out of the passenger side car, that perhaps he was trying to get the driver to stop, and maybe there was an argument over, you know, and grabbing for the wheel. Who knows? It kind of had that look to it.
Right.
Because it suddenly, you know, just went crazy.
Yeah, and the passenger didn't exactly run.
Right.
He kind of walked away. He or she kind of walked away down Highland Avenue, both north of this point and south of Leland Avenue as well. They will be shutting down both intersections, and they will eventually approach the vehicle when they feel it is safe to do so. But as you can see, lots of units out of the valley and Hollywood units right behind them as well. Several officers up near the top right-hand corner of your screen with their guns drawn, several long weapons out, some lethal, some non-lethal weapons out there, and this is now going to be a major crime scene. You can see that some of the traffic is still getting by on Highland Avenue. That's going to be northbound traffic on Highland Avenue. They're going to do their very best to shut down all of that traffic here in the next several seconds. That's exactly what they're trying to do, but for the time being, they have a little bit of a situation because they cannot afford to have any cross traffic in the line of fire just in case they have to use force here. They do not want any crossfire injuries. So
the suspect ended up on Hollywood Boulevard, where traffic was a bit heavier. Near Highland Avenue, the suspect ended up spinning, hitting the curb and losing control. The truck hit two parked vehicles and came to a stop on the curb about a mile away. A man got out of the passenger side of the vehicle and tried to flee on foot, but authorities got out of their vehicles and took the man into custody. Authorities also removed the passengers and drivers of other nearby vehicles from their vehicle and took them to safety. The man was arrested while authorities searched the vehicle.